Accountability Friday.
Alright, we're live over here too.
Episode 6. Oh, let me grab my workout journal. Okay. Well, hello. Yeah, are you going to get on live, Harrison?
I am definitely doing that right now.
Alright, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Alright, happy Accountability Friday. Happy Good Friday.
It is a Good Friday.
Happy episode 6. Yeah, I learned yesterday, it's also, recently that...
It's Passover?
Well, yeah, which is crazy too.
Yeah, the camera store's closed. I was looking at their website.
Yeah. Well, and also, I didn't know yesterday was called Holy Thursday, but yeah, Passover typically, I'm going to show my true ignorance here. Passover isn't typically around Easter all the time, I guess, or
no, because it's on. I think it's on the Jewish calendar.
Sure, okay.
Which is not like.
Well, yeah.
I don't think it's like a 12-month calendar.
Happy Passover and Good Friday. Yeah, Harrison and I just came from the gym. We worked out. We're going to talk a little bit about our training today. We did some tempo training and eccentrics. And then we're going to recap my training this week and then quicker check-in, heading up to Cleveland with Audrey, and Harrison's heading to Cincy to see some family too.
See my mom.
Hopefully everyone has a good holiday weekend. So what we'll do is we'll start on my recap and training. So big win this week was actually a miss. I was doing deadlifts on Monday. We're going conventional deficit, still working hook grip. And here's what I'm finding with hook grip. I definitely notice sumo feels easier to engage. I feel like I can get my lats going more with that hook grip, right? I think that breaking that bar is that much more important. When doing hook grip, you got to get those lats engaged to help out with your grip, right? So I'm finding that sumo is definitely advantageous. I feel like I can bring in my grip a little more to get my lats going, opposed to when I'm conventional, right? About shoulder width stance, right? A little wider in terms of my width and grip, right? It's a little harder to get my lats engaged. So learning how to do that. So I finally dropped a weight this week. It was like good to get that out of the way. I was like nervous, like thinking about the first time I'm dropped. So that was 455. And it was right at lockout. I can post that video maybe in the YouTube recap. But it was good just to get over that hump and kind of, feel like it wasn't that big of a deal, really. So next week we are doing bands. I did tell myself I'll pull at least a plate through it, 185, maybe 225. We'll see. But that is that variation specifically through bands. It was a deficit through bands is how I tore the bicep, supinated grip, obviously. So a little nervous for next Monday, to be honest, but just going to approach it like anything else, right? So, excited to see kind of what I can get, because I did notice in the other win this week today I did a 3x5 with 2 plates, 225 on bench. Earlier in the week, there's no training effect here, but I speed bench for the first time on Tuesday, and I just feel like going through bands again is starting to train me just keep accelerating, so I think that's helpful. So I'm excited to see what that does on my deadlift too. Really, the plan here, I think I talked about this last Friday, was I want to, the goal is in May to pull 500. Probably going to be sumo, so we'll see. But yeah, other win this week was 225 on bench, 3 sets of 5. That's feeling pretty good. Actually, I've been really hammering the stabilization bamboo bar the last month, so excited for that. But yeah. Excited for training moving forward. I did a check-in, physique check-in earlier in the week. I was like 194. So going to keep hopefully eating and taking 10 grams of creatine right now. So that's 1 weekend. So hopefully, normally I've taken creatine since I was 16. I've always generally ran around like 5 grams. That's a general typical dose you'll see on any supplement. But
you've taken it since you were 16?
Since I was 16. I remember because I remember asking my mom about it, and she took me to. She was like, you have to go. She took me to our pediatrician. She's like, you have to talk to him about it. And she like maybe taken it. She was like, actually really approached it, I thought, pretty well. Probably 16, 17. But I remember I wasn't 18 yet.
Your doctor wasn't against creatine?
No. I remember he literally was like, Zach, just make sure you're hydrated.
Yep, that's what everyone says.
Yeah. And I was smart. And I've always, luckily been an athlete. So.
Have you ever taken a break?
Hydration, no. The longest I took a break was with my bicep tear. I probably took a month off because honestly I was like, I'm going to take time off. I'll ebb and flow. Like generally you'll see guys, some people talk about, it's a good point, but you talk guys with a loading phase. You see that a lot on creatine bottles. Like, oh, when you start a phase,
Right,
you need to take a shit ton. Honestly, bullshit on that.
Yeah.
It's a lot of these companies' way just to get you to buy more product, really.
Yeah.
So if anyone's taking it, I'd recommend start at like 2.5 grams a day and be consistent with it. It doesn't matter really what time you take it at. Try to take it with food. Just be consistent with how often you take it. And yeah, I don't think you need to really cycle off it. Here's this truth: it naturally occurs in your body already. So,
right.
And also in a little more like red meats too. So it's fine. You know, if you're afraid of bloating, just start with like 2.5 grams and work your way up. If you tolerate that, okay, 5 grams. Tolerate that.
Do you ever do like a branched chain aminos or?
Sure. Audrey, she's instructing me. You know, I think these are good. Like, especially if you're not hitting your protein goals, right? You know, but here's really the supplement talk. Right? The supplements are in the hierarchy pyramid, right, of things that matter, right? It's not at the base. It's definitely at the tippity top, right? So if your recovery is not on point, like if you're not sleeping, like I don't fucking sleep enough. Like, so, you know, I that's why I've never really cared about supplements too much. Like I'm a big creatine guy. You know, I love my max effort, but, you know, pre-workout, sure, on days you need it. But other than that, like, you know, supplements matter when you're doing every other thing right. And the truth is no one's doing every other thing right. Like unless you're an Olympia or whatever you're doing, right? So, you know, these other things though, like creatine definitely has a lot of good science behind it. Like it's definitely worth your time. Creatine's also super cheap.
Yeah.
Okay, so you know I recommend creatine for these reasons, especially if you're someone looking to like, you know, put on some more mass. So hopefully taking 10 grams, I don't know, we'll see. Maybe it gets me to 200 pounds finally body weight. So that was kind of our week in training. To recap, yeah, please, if anyone has questions, chime in. We're hanging out here. We're only going to be live probably 10-15 minutes.
We can talk about our workout today.
Yeah, workout. So Harrison and I just came back. Harrison's been sick a little bit the last couple of weeks. We've just been going through it, right? I got sick a little earlier in the week, but I think today was a good positive day. We was like full body. I told Harrison I want to focus on tempo training today. We're talking about the 3 muscle contractions: eccentric, concentric, and isometric. So I put a couple videos on. One video on my Instagram story of Harrison. We were doing an eccentric inverted row. So he'd pull himself up, kind of like a pull-up basically, and then lower himself a lot slower, right? The eccentric is pertaining to the main muscle moving, which would be the lat, right? Because with every eccentric contraction, there's a concentric contraction too. So in that one, it was just bam, right, and down. And what I like doing with the tempo training, Harrison, right, is like we were kind of pairing it with another movement, trying to get your heart rate up. Then into the tempo, we're challenging that much more,
right?
Because
it's harder.
It's harder because you have to focus on your breath too a little bit, right? You can't just kind of rep it out. You have to be that much more conscious. And I think for anyone maybe getting started in the weightlifting world, like tempo training is a great thing to add in because it's one, if your goal is to grow muscle, hypertrophy, right? It's gonna encourage mechanical tension, meaning slowing the movement down and feeling whatever muscle you're trying to work. Right, there is something to slowing down like this. I talk about this with clients all the time, Harrison. It's rep schemes are just this block of, hey, do this, but really what matters is time under tension at the end of the day. That's all a rep is telling you how much time to be under tension. So if you can, you know, that's why like I'm big on, if you see me do my Nordic hamstring curls for the ham dogs, like I'm always going slow, right? How much can you feel that? And a hamstring open, right? Bicep curl, big before I tore my bicep. And even now, right, when I'm lowering the eccentric phase really beats the muscle up too, right? You're going to gain a lot more from that eccentric phase, especially slowing it down and feeling that muscle.
Do you feel like you gain performance? The answer to this could be both, but do you feel like you gain performance, like you could like lift more, or do you feel like that helps more with like bulk in the muscle? Or
sure. I mean, I think the better way to answer your question, Harrison, is like, Tom Platz is like this old school body, like back in the day, and his like main training method was this eccentric phase, meaning he just like, he talks about doing barbell RDLs, like a deadlift all the time. He would go kind of slower on the way down, okay, the eccentric lengthening of the hamstrings, and then a almost explosive but controlled concentric, so way up. And the whole idea is that the eccentric phase is going to help you overload the hypertrophy, the muscle building, break down the muscle that much more than the concentric phase, okay? So it's going to grow the muscle more.
Yeah,
hence be more of a bodybuilding thing. So I would say probably less performance. I mean, more muscle is going to benefit you regardless, right? But in the bodybuilding sense, that's why you would maybe focus on the eccentric. To answer your other question, like you see in a lot of athletes who are in season still, if they are going to work out maybe once or twice a week, they'll do a lot of what's concentric training. So you see a lot of dudes deadlift. You see people deadlift the bar up, lock it out, and then drop it, right? Because the eccentric phase, once again, beats you up a little more. So I think for, you getting back into the gym, Harrison, I mean, that's the great thing about training Harrison. He was we trained together for a while. Harrison knows how to move. So
I was an athlete in high school.
Yeah, okay, I thought so. And, I think the time we spent lifting at Capitol when we were freshmen, he knows movement patterns. So it's not, really that big of a stress, I think, with you, Harrison. But someone new, really new into the gym, slowing down, the lengthening phase could be beneficial for you to just, really learn the movement too, right? I'd encourage, doing this over machines, in the beginning and then, work from there.
Question for you as a trainer. Is it much harder to train someone who might not have as much, I can't think of the word right now, but if you're, if you're good at a sport, you can move well. I forget
Sure.
the word
Yeah, I mean, generally speaking, I feel like someone with
coordination.
Someone with an athletic background is going to have general coordination skills, so that's helpful with weightlifting, I think. But at the same flip of the coin, someone maybe could have really bad movement patterns from these sports, so maybe it's relearning things. Because I've definitely had people come in who've never been in a gym or played a sport before, but they move super well because of past experiences. I'm thinking Klein off the top of my head, someone who's in theater a lot. Is very good with coordination. He's one of my best lifters.
Did he have a lot of dance background?
Dance, sure, and marching band. So he's strong and can move really well because he understands his body, right? And that can happen in other things besides sports. So yeah, and once again, some these athletes I train, they have such bad injuries, so they're it's hard to kind of relearn some things. So to each his own, I guess, on that question. So we getting anything pop up?
No, I was sending it out to more people.
Oh, sweet. I appreciate it.
People
guys.
Chilling.
Yeah, we're just...
It's probably a pretty busy weekend.
Yeah, I figured that's why I figured today would be quick. I'm going to hopefully get a good lift up in Cleveland with Audrey tomorrow. I think we may go to Old School Iron. This is the gym. This is one of my first workouts, Harrison. It's a really cool... the gym I work out at during the week, a couple of days a week, is Old School out in Granville, but there's this gym up in Cleveland. It's kind of this cool big warehouse, a lot of cool graffiti. My buddy Jeremy, who I met online, he's a trainer up there, I believe, and runs his business out of there. But really cool vibe. It's giant. It's 5, 6, maybe 7,000 square feet. Cool graffiti, but we may lift there tomorrow. I did front squat this morning. My knees, I've been doing this. I did this, big takeaway from this week. I'm not doing the stair stepper anymore. I think there's a small line with it. I'm not lunging right now, but stair stepper beats my knees up like crazy. 1 week I'll do high incline walks on the treadmill, no issue there, but did the Stairmaster probably total of 60, 70 minutes this week, too much on my knees.
Yeah.
So I'm going to lean into the treadmill.
Nick Crazy MD said, shout out #Bandos who knew Marching Man helps powerlifting.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, listen, I knew Mike was about that, so, I think body coordination at the end of the day, because that gets pretty intense. I mean...
Band?
Yeah.
Were
you in band, Harrison?
Yeah, but I was a guitarist. So I mean, basically, I knew I was going to be a professional musician, but I hit up my band director. I was like, "Look, man, there's not a single program in the school that is tailored to me, but I'm definitely going to be a musician." Yeah. He was like, "Yeah, come and play with us."
If anyone's from, I guess, Ohio,
I was in the pit.
Columbus, even. Okay. I mean, Capitol.
I would have marched if we figured it out.
Capitol's pretty known for their conservatory, right?
Right.
I mean, that's why.
There used to be a I don't know if there was a marching band. There used to be.
I always wondered. I figured they
some of my teachers were there for 20, 30 years.
Well, the football team used to be good back in the day, so maybe there wasn't
really?
reason to march though.
Yeah, and they're like, "Why are we doing this?" That's rough.
No hate. I played soccer at Capitol. We were 500 at best, I think, when I was there, and I only played 2 years. Yeah. I'm a quitter, so. But yeah, I think. Do we have any other questions popping up there?
No, I don't think so.
All right. Well, yeah, we'll keep this short. Happy Good Friday. Harris and I are going to get back to a couple times a week here. I think we got some cool things hopefully planned for April. Accountability Friday. There's a chance next Friday we may upload something cool Harris and I do next week, early in the week. we got some travel coming up. So we'll get that planned out, and I'll put that up next week. But thanks for all checking in. Happy Friday. Appreciate you.